Spending less and getting more is a no-brainer. That's why serious landlords choose Inago. Forget the myth that free software means weak features. Inago delivers everything. Tenant screening, lease signing, rent collection, and more. For free. No fees, no contracts, just a full-featured, reliable platform trusted by thousands of landlords. Plus, their top-rated support team is always ready to help. Ready to streamline your property management and save money? Visit inago.com today. That's inago.com/podcast.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Zach, and I'm here with my co-host, Patrick.
What up?
And we're your hosts for the Rentish podcast, which is a podcast that's kind of about rental properties and hosted by two guys that work in the real estate industry and sort of know what they're talking about.
But mostly don't.
Yes, Patrick, mostly we don't, which is why you're going to have fun hearing us talk to experts, learning along with us, or just laughing at how little we know. Patrick, your mostly we don't this week is emblematic of exactly how I'm feeling right now. Energy a bit low. But we're going to talk about some fun stuff, and I'm going to pump that right up and just get right back into the zone.
I think you misunderstood my butt, because my butt was very high. It was a high energy butt.
No, it was like,
No.
And that's how I feel like the world is right now. It's like, it's just like humming at this consistent frequency.
It was supposed to be a but like a they're great, Tony the Tiger.
Like the THX sound. Yeah. Oh man. All right. Rentish podcast. Follow us on the things. You know where it is. If you go to the podcast feeds, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, you can find the Rentish. Subscribe to us, the Rentish at the Rentish Pod on Instagram. Email questions@therentishpod.com if you have questions that you'd like to ask the show. We appreciate each and every one of you for coming out and listening to the show. It's been a lot of fun being able to record. We got some fun stuff coming up, right? I think we've got some interviews and things that we're going to be doing
today.
Not today, just
okay.
teasing future episodes. You know, we might bring back some smart people, some smarties other than us. But yeah, today we're going to have a good time. We're going to talk about a lot of fun stuff. But Pat, before we get into everything, how you doing? How's your day?
I'm okay. I thought it was Thursday today, but it's actually Tuesday.
Yeah, you psyched me out too. Tell everybody what you've been having to deal with over the last 24 hours.
Yeah, so I'm dog sitting for my next door neighbor, which has been great. I love this dog. I've never had a dog before, and I've been able to sort of have a dog for the first time. And while I wouldn't want a dog necessarily right now, I was like, okay, I totally get it. And then last night, the dog threw up 5 times in my apartment on my favorite rug, my sheets in the closet, my comforter, one, and then twice on like just the hardwood floor. And so, yeah, that's been a disaster. And so then I ended up putting the dog back at like 1 a.m. I put the dog back in my neighbor's apartment, and I get there this morning, and then she pooped in my neighbor's kitchen. So I had to deal with that this morning. But yeah, anyways, I'm dealing with that. Yeah, it's kind of a mix of like feeling bad for the dog. Like the dog's clearly sick, and also wondering like what I do. Like I'm dog sitting for like 4 days, and like the dog just like
that's normal. You put a dog out of its normal habitat or whatever. It's like it's in a different space. It doesn't know what's going on.
Okay.
That happens.
Yeah, but that's
maybe it ate a Cheeto you dropped or something.
That's what I'm wondering. It ate
violently ill. But no, you said that you were like, well, this was all. I'm gonna do my best, Pat. You're like, I have to clean up this dog poop. They've ruined my favorite rug, but at least it's Thursday or whatever. You're like, nope, it's Tuesday.
You're great at impressions.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm working on it. Eventually, if I nail your impression, I'll be able to do this whole show without you.
Yeah, I was about to say, you pretty
I'm going to do my Patrick impression. You know what, Zach? I've really come around on Wes Anderson.
That's not something I would say.
He's a great director, and all of his stuff is great.
You're putting words into my mouth.
I know. All right, well, today we've got a really fun episode because we're going to talk about midterm rentals. Doesn't that sound fun, Pat? Yeah? Sounds great. And then we're also going to talk about Hogwarts. So we're going to do a little Harry Potter section to have a nice palate cleanser. After the really fun discussion that we're going to have about midterm rentals. No. It's good. It's a cool news article. We're gonna learn a lot and have a good time. Yeah. Do you want to jump right in?
The article? Okay, for the record, I tried to read the article this time. I tried.
Oh, you did?
I clicked the article and then it said I had to pay a subscription, which obviously I'm not doing.
Uh-oh.
So,
well,
that one's not on me.
Okay, not on you.
I'm not leading the segment, right?
No. I'm
Okay,
leading the segment.
God.
I was just seeing how far we dip into the water before you were like, wait, what are we doing here? Okay.
No, I'm on it today, dude.
Okay. Investors are ditching short-term headaches and long-term limits for something in between. Mid-term rentals. Patrick,
Yes.
before we dive into the article, do you know what? Do you have a guess what a midterm rental is? Do you know what a midterm rental?
So I'm guessing a midterm rental is longer than like an Airbnb, but shorter than like a year-long lease agreement. Okay. I'm guessing it's somewhere in the vein of like 1 month to like less than a year.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically exactly the way it sounds. These 1 to 12 month leases are becoming the new go-to for boosting cash flow while avoiding the Airbnb burnout and red tape. And basically, a midterm rental is just a lease agreement for a property that typically lasts between 1 and 6 months. Could go up to typically a year-long lease, but it's like you could stretch that up until the very end, maybe a little bit before. I think it's designed to be a flexible thing for both property owners as well as the tenants that are going to be occupying short-term rentals for a variety of life reasons.
I was about to ask, like, because I feel like more often than not, people want like a longer term lease or like an Airbnb. Like, in what situations are people? Like, I guess like travel nurses, for example, or if
that was one that came to my mind.
Okay,
immediately. Yeah, it was travel nursing.
But like, how much of the population is that? Like, maybe if you got a lease starting in like at the end of summer, but like you just graduated school or something and need like 3 months or something. Like, I get that too, but like, I mean, how much of a market is there for midterm rentals?
Well, turns out more than you'd expect. I mean, it's becoming like a popular. I mean, with real estate, it's like these trends will come and go. We may have someone in our very midst that is utilizing somewhat of a midterm rental kind of situation, even though it's not necessarily. I don't know if you'd use those words exactly, but would you? Professor. I said professor.
Professor.
Essentially, it's not just for nurses too. It's for people that, like, if your house burned down and you need like temporary housing, sometimes insurance companies will call you and get you set up there, or like P&G or like these big companies. Yeah. People relocate as they're relocating for a new home. They need like a place for the months that they're looking for this home.
Okay.
So it's like it's definitely niche. But there's sites that you can use that will help as well.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, some from the article, it was a Business Insider article, by the way. I don't know if I cited that at the top of the hour, but real investor stories from the article. Someone named Ziona McIntyre, who's a Colorado investor who switched from Airbnb to midterm rentals during COVID, says she now prefers it. There's fewer headaches, longer stays, more independent tenants, and she used Furnished Finder and focuses on 3-month-long tenants. So I mean, people like this found the niche, and they say fewer headaches and longer stays and more independent tenants. I mean, that sounds like a problem with. We've talked in the past before about like Airbnb must be kind of a scary thing to do as a property owner. Like, you're leasing out this property for a weekend to people that could come in and treat it like garbage and then leave. Or it's like you have to worry about doing updates and cleanings more frequently for the changeover for the next guests. But if you have 3-month-long tenants, you get them in, they're there for a few months, and then you do one changeover and then get your next tenants in. It's less of a commitment for you too as a landlord.
Yeah, for sure.
Dana Bull, a Massachusetts investor who adopted midterm rentals to offset rising mortgage rates, says it's more work than long-term but higher cash flow, which makes it worth it. So I'm guessing that, higher cash flow is. Do you think people are charging more than typical rent rates?
Yeah,
like a standard year-long rent.
I would think so, and that makes sense to have that sort of flexibility.
Yeah. I'd be curious to know what like a typical if there's like a increase rate where it's like this is the median rent amount in the United States, and if you have a short-term rental like this or a midterm rental, this is how much more you could theoretically make by doing the rental. Spending less and getting more is a no-brainer. That's why serious landlords choose Inago. With features like tenant screening, lease signing, and rent collection, Inago gives you everything you need for free.
No fees, no contracts, just powerful property management made simple. Visit inago.com/podcast to sign up. That's inago.com/podcast.
Right. And I also wonder with midterm rentals, I bet you a lot of them are furnished, which is like,
Yeah.
you know, would also just organically increase the rent rather than just, you know, on top of like the regular.
That's
like,
fair.
term.
Yeah. You got a TV in there. You got a couch, a bed, all the stuff that you have, like nice amenities and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
it's like,
right.
yeah, that makes sense. Maybe you'd be paying a little bit higher. I don't know.
Were you going to say something?
Yeah.
You
What's
say?
going on with the cross star?
No, I was gonna say something, but you answered it. It's
Okay.
because, like, usually they're furnished.
Okay.
And then a lot of the times they say, like, if you can already have the utilities covered for them. So sometimes you charge higher. Just
Oh,
to
like
offset
overcharge
that.
the utilities just for as a convenience sort of thing.
Yeah, so it's just like an easy in and out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yours is your unit is furnished, right?
Yeah.
And do you cover utilities?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a lot, honestly.
Really?
Because also you got to think about people who are like, oh no, but this shouldn't be this high, and you're like, well, you don't know how much the utilities actually.
Oh, so like you're saying that by covering the utilities, like could be more convenient, but it could also lead to more like questions from the tenant about the pricing of the.
Right.
Okay.
Right. But it depends. A lot of the times when you do cover their utilities, the tenants, I think, they don't really care about the electricity, so they or water, so it's like
Just
they
taking
they
2-hour-long showers.
But
Do
you
you-
also,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, but you also want people there, so it's like,
Yeah.
how low do you put it?
Yeah. Do you cover the cleaning? Like, do you do when you have changeover for your tenants? Do you do the cleaning yourself, or do you have somebody else do it for you?
I do it myself.
Really?
Yeah. Because it's like
I got a job for you. You want to come clean my house? I'll pay you a nominal fee.
honestly, I just can't like if we have like more units and stuff, but I can't see myself for one unit just that's upstairs having someone else come in and pay them.
Hiring a cleaning company.
Yeah,
Or
I'd
something,
rather
yeah.
just go through it and do it myself. I mean, I got that toilet cleaned, the one I was telling you about.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
thank God.
Everyone
Yeah.
knows that story. Made it on the show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I finally I knew what to do. But we don't have to get into that.
Okay. I'm gonna call him Professor Mousse from
Yeah,
now
I like
on. The moniker. It rolls off the tongue better than Producer Mousse.
Yeah.
Professor Mousse.
Oh, he's got.
We're a podcast. We'll buy him a tweed jacket and a tie. Come in and look like a professor. Couple more investor stories. Manny Reyna, a San Antonio host who uses midterm stays to avoid hotel taxes and permit fees required for short-term rentals. So that's another thing.
Hotel taxes. I don't even know what that means. Like, is it a tax a hotel pays?
I don't even know what that means. You get charged hotel taxes when you book like a extended stay, even if it's one single night. There's taxes and fees with any hotel purchase.
But she avoids having. Is that not something that
She avoids the tenants having to pay those fees
okay,
by charging for the
okay,
short-term
okay.
rental.
Gotcha.
I'm going to cover the
there.
cost of the hotel
Yeah.
for you to stay with us. Yeah. No, not how it works. Peter Keen Riviera is a Seattle host who mixes short and midterm depending on the season. High summer returns from short-term stays, but in winter switches to midterm for more stable income.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. We also haven't we haven't talked about college housing.
Yeah.
Gotta be
I guess those would be like for a
smart
semester.
for midterm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could do 6 months, right? You start in the fall, August, September, October, November, December.
Yeah. I mean,
And
it's
then,
5.
and then maybe it's like, do you do a semester here, semester there?
Yeah.
Who knows? All sorts of things you could do with these. Aren't they so exciting, Patrick?
Yeah, they are.
Okay. Couple bullet points from the article. Short-term rental struggles. Many cities are cracking down on short-term rentals with permits, taxes, and
Hotel
regulations.
taxes, for example.
For example, there could be we're going to charge a citywide hotel tax. Like, oh, no. Constant guest turnover, maintenance, and unpredictability can be exhausting for hosts, but midterm rentals can charge more than long-term rentals without the churn of Airbnb-style hosting. So, renters like traveling nurses,
Boom.
remote workers, and divorcees are driving steady demand.
I didn't
That's
think about that.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Didn't think about that part at
Yeah.
all. That's very interesting. Tenants staying 1 to 6 months often treat the place better than weekend guests. Like
Right.
one investor compared the experience to switching from, quote, a frat party to a responsible adult, end quote. So it's kind of like, you get somebody in there for longer than a weekend. Just the precedent that you set is like, I want to take care of this place. I'm going to be existing in this place. I should not,
Trash. Yeah.
drink 25 beers and throw up all over the rug.
Yeah.
Or also, dog threw up on your rug.
Yeah.
Can't you just get it cleaned? You said he ruined your favorite rug.
Well, I don't have rug cleaner at my because.
Will you take it to like a laundromat?
Oh, you take it to a.
Or you can take it to there's places that'll like clean fabric.
I put a bunch of the like the Tide power spray thing. I like sprayed it with that and I ran it under hot water and scrubbed it, and I'm hoping that did the trick. But it's kind of like a material, a different material. It's like tweed maybe or something.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm hoping for the best. I'll take a look at it tonight.
We'll keep your rug in our thoughts.
Thank you.
Platforms like Furnished Finder, Facebook groups, or even word of mouth help fill midterm rentals. I'm unfamiliar with Furnished Finder. Producer Professor. Have you heard any? Do you know what Furnished Finder is? Have any experience with it?
Yes, I actually use that.
Really?
Yeah. It's pretty decent. Honestly, it's hard to get tenants on there because these are more like situational. So some people are nurses, some people are like traveling to complete their course or whatever. So yeah, I use it. It gets a good amount of leads. You just gotta make sure you nail them down.
Okay. And you avoid the fees and restrictions that Airbnb imposes as well. So yeah, sounds like a lot of people have a lot of different methods of finding their midterm tenants.
Nailing them
Furnished
down,
Finder,
you
Facebook
mean?
groups. By any means, you got to nail them down. And so midterm works best in urban areas or cities with medical centers, business hubs, or universities. I imagine that rural areas, midterm rental, probably non-existent, next to non-existent in the country. But if you're in the city,
I just thought about this. I'm going to ask my cousin from Arkansas, Lincoln. He just moved to Montana to be a firefighter, like a forest firefighter. And I guess what they do is they station them out. Like that's where he's like based, but he's like going to New Mexico or something for like a while and stationed out there. I wonder if he does midterm rentals. I should ask him.
Cool.
You should ask him to write in the answer to the question to questions@therentagepod.com.
I will absolutely ask him that. Lincoln, if you're listening right now, which I know you definitely aren't because you have no idea I do this podcast.
Someone named Lincoln, if you're listening, write into questions@therentagepod.
Anyone.
Anybody, please. Please. Yeah, furnished units are a must, the article says, but the returns often justify the extra setup. So, you spend a little bit more upfront getting a nice furnishings and do you supply plates? Do you supply eatery too? Eatery.
What do I call it?
Dishery?
No, that's not
Yeah, it's
Cutlery?
what is it? Kitchen essentials? What is it called?
Plates.
Utensils? Eating utensils?
Yeah.
Forks, knives, spoons.
No, we do, but
There's
we got
another word for it. You're
glasses,
it's silverware.
mugs.
right. Potential discussion questions.
Oh, okay.
So, Patrick, would you consider doing a midterm rental over a long-term lease?
Like in terms of like,
I think it's you as the renter. Would you consider?
Yeah,
would this ever fit a situation for you?
like not now. I'm trying to think. Like there's been a situation. Like obviously I was in college, and I lived with a buddy for like 2 months as like I guess a renter. So I guess that was kind of a midterm rental. So I've done that.
That's true.
I rented a room in this house that he bought. Yeah, I mean, like if the situation arose, but I think the next property I'll live in, I would like to buy.
Sure.
So I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of in the same boat. It's like I'm in a place now where it's like, well, I'll probably look to buy as my next move, like not moving to another place to rent. The only exception, this is like pie in the sky, would be if I chose to like travel abroad. A midterm rental for like if I wanted to, spend some time in Norwegia. And I had to get a midterm rental out there, and be able to, not have to lock myself down to a 12-month lease. I could stay somewhere for 5 to 6 months, get some experience.
Yeah, that makes
work
sense.
abroad,
Are
study.
you planning on doing that? I didn't know this
No,
was something you
I'm
wanted
not.
to do.
No.
Oh, you're just saying
I
it
was
out.
just hypothetically. I'm like, well, that would be a situation I could see.
Talk about a hypothetical.
It's a hypothetical.
Go to the far lands of Norwegia.
Norwegia. What types of tenants would you feel most comfortable hosting?
I don't know. I mean, like, I just feel like a tenant that would respect the property. So, for example, if I was going to do a short term or mid-term rental, I would probably not want to do a frat house personally. You know,
I would probably say it's probably a little scary for people renting out midterm rentals to like college kids, just
Yeah.
knowing the propensity of what college kids can do to
Yeah.
a property. I would imagine that a thorough application process would probably be part of a midterm rental. Would you say so?
I think so. I think like if you use Furnish Finder, people on there, I think they got to go through the verification. And then on top of that, if you're like a nurse or whatever, you're also vetted anyway by that company. So they go through like a lot of like vetting processes, I feel like.
Yeah.
If you use midterm, that's one of the perks also. But I mean, you could just, have somebody that that wants to do 3 to 6 months, and you just got to do what we always say
Yeah.
for the tenant screening.
Right. Nice drop. That's about it. I mean, midterm rentals, they don't seem to be just a trend. They're becoming strategic moves for investors looking to increase returns with fewer headaches. As housing markets shift and travel habits evolve, they offer a practical middle ground between stability and profitability. So it's interesting to hear. It's cool to hear some perspective from our producer, Musay. But yeah, if anybody has any thoughts or opinions on short-term, midterm rentals, feel free to reach out. Questions at therentagepod.com. I couldn't remember the email for a second. Oh boy. All right. Well, we made it through the news. That was fun, informative. And now it's time to get into the good stuff.
The good stuff. If by the good stuff you mean Hogwarts, the Wizarding World's most iconic property, then yes.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about
What
Harry
was
Potter.
that,
That was the
though?
lightning that happens at the opening.
Oh.
The opening title sequence. for
I
every
had
movie.
no idea what that was. Whichever producer wrote this one, which I think was Charlene, was it? Yeah, she got really into it. So I'm gonna try.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna read some of this stuff word to word.
Oh my god. There
What?
are 5 pages of
Oh
Harry
my,
Potter
yeah,
stuff.
I know. Usually this is a little bit more bulleted, but yeah, sure. I think Charlene was getting excited. So
Yeah, this is real. So what? Introduce the segment. Real estate real, right?
Real Estate Real. Welcome to Real Estate Real. Like REEL, but like the first one's REAL. I feel like we cover that every time. I feel like
Every time.
don't need to start
Well,
covering
we
that.
just got to make sure that everybody really understands exactly what we're going for here. It's a pun. It's fun.
Yes.
Everyone has a good time.
It is funny because it's real estate, but it's also like movies and TV, like a
Yeah.
film reel. That's why it's funny. Yeah, we talk about iconic properties from TV and movies and explore their real world locations as well as the quirks and the property value and all that. Yeah, and today we're gonna talk about Harry Potter's Hogwarts Castle, this Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, as it's formally called.
Yep.
One of the most, I think, legendary fictional properties of all time, certainly of the 21st century.
Oh, definitely. If you've been living under a rock for the last 20 years, the silhouette of the castle of Hogwarts is just one of the most iconic fictional things I think that have been created in the last few decades.
For sure.
And yeah, the building itself, beautiful. I mean, like, how would you describe the castle?
I mean, it looks. I don't know. It's like cone. They kind of look like cones, right? The castles.
I would
the
say
towers.
very, very purposefully, like kind of like medieval architecture. I mean, it's got like a spires. There's like multiple different spires that jet up, so it kind of has like a jaggedy sort of look.
Right.
It's really, really cool.
Medieval, magical, mystical, wizarding. They're
all of the magical adjectives. Yeah.
By the way, I hadn't seen Harry Potter. I haven't read the books, but I hadn't seen it until like COVID hit, basically.
Really?
Yeah, well, like my sister, I always got annoyed with the Harry Potter like super fans because my sister was one of them, and it was just kind of like one of those things. Like I was in this English class, and everybody like when they found out I had never read Harry Potter or seen the movies, they made me take like the Sorting Hat quiz test thing.
Let me guess. they put you. I bet you they put you in Ravenclaw.
No, I was Hufflepuff.
Really?
Yeah.
That actually checks out too.
That's the thing. They all like literally the professor stopped the class so I could take the quiz test, and I got a Hufflepuff, not knowing what that meant. And they're like, "Oh, you would be a Hufflepuff," and I'm like, "She's like this." It's just so. I was getting so annoyed until COVID hit. I didn't have any excuses. My sister, I watched the whole thing in like 48 hours with my sister, and I get it. I love them. I thought it's great. I totally get the appeal. I totally get the fandom. I think the story's great. The characters are great. The world building's awesome.
Yep.
I haven't read the book, so I'm not like. Yeah. Have you read the book?
You should, yeah.
Okay. I've heard they're like even better, but
Yeah, I actually was reading the books at the same time the movies were coming out and seeing them as well.
Oh.
So it was like really, really cool to be in that world and like have the books be going concurrently and then have like going to see the movies and going to see the midnight. This was still at the time of midnight movie releases,
Yeah.
but seeing the last Harry Potter movie at midnight with a big group of friends in my hometown was like a quintessential high school memory for me, which is crazy because it's like now we're coming up on however many years that Harry Potter's been a franchise, and it's just so many iconic things have come from the wizarding world and from all of that stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, specifically the Hogwarts castle, I mean, like tattooed on millions, I must assume, that people have gotten the silhouette tattoo. You can actually visit it. I've been to Hogwarts, Pat,
Oh.
twice. Universal Studios.
Universal. Okay, gotcha.
At Universal Studios Orlando, Florida, you can actually go to Harry Potter World and you can take the train from Diagon Alley all the way over to Hogsmeade,
Yes.
and you can see the castle in the background.
Yeah.
And I gotta tell you, I love theme parks, but the Wizarding World theme park at Universal Studios is really, really impressive because of
so
the way
good.
that they're able to manipulate scale.
Mhm.
You actually think that you're looking at this gigantic castle that's far away, and it makes you feel like you're in another world.
Yeah.
And then you get closer to it and you realize that it's really just the perspective of their it's still a big structure, but they make it seem like this gigantic castle. So you can really put yourself in the place of like being in the world, really.
Right.
But yeah, we mentioned the spires of the castle and the jagged look of it. Also, we should probably mention the lake. I'm gonna get burned by my Harry
Black
Potter trivia.
Lake.
Black Lake.
Yep.
That's
yep,
right.
Black
yeah.
Lake.
So the Black Lake surrounding it. So it's kind of like in a little inlet on the lake. It kind of sits in the middle of the water, which I've always thought was a really cool design. But yeah,
With the mountains and the Forbidden Forest.
Yep.
I think is what it's called. Yeah. So like Hogwarts has all those things. It's a hidden castle in the Scottish Highlands. But in real life, much of the exterior of Hogwarts was filmed at Alnwick Castle in Northumberland. I don't know if that's how it
Northumberland.
Northumberland.
You gotta
England.
pronounce everything with
Oh, dude.
just a wee British accent.
I'm not good at Northumberland, England. Dude, yeah, that was rough.
Northumberland, England.
There we go. That's better.
You got it. Like that's my Dolores Umbridge.
Northumberland, England.
It's not
Is
a
that-
thumb.
Northumberland, England, in a governor.
That was good. That was good. Or was I? Oh yeah, and a lot of the interior shots were at locations like.
Give this one a shot, yeah.
Oh god, Gloucester Cathedral.
I'm gonna guess it's
Gloucester.
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 Because I think
Gloucester
I don't think you
Cathedral.
pronounce the OU in those
Ooh,
kind in that. So
Gloucester.
it's like Gloucester Cathedral. or
I got
something
this one in lockdown though. Durham Cathedral. Durham, not Durham.
Durham.
No, Durham.
The Durham Cathedral.
Durham Cathedral, and then various sets at Levisden Studios near London.
I love that was like 2 sentences written on the page that took so much effort for you to pronounce all of those words.
But anyways, Alnwick Castle. It's a real lived-in castle. That's the one where the first one we talked about with a bunch of the exterior shots.
Yep.
It's a real lived-in castle and has been home to the Duke of Northumberland's family for over 700 years.
Wow.
Yeah, that's older than America. It now serves as both a private residence and a tourist attraction.
See, that is interesting. I didn't actually know that the castle, like the castle's a tour. It doesn't look, by the way, anything like Harry.
Yeah, I
so
mean-
like this is Alnwick Castle,
Right.
and it kind of I could see like maybe some of the ground shots doing there, or like that interior is like this.
Yeah.
Like this almost looks like in the first movie where they do like the learn how to play Quidditch scene.
Right.
Is like kind of in like a castle area like that. But it's like it's not really like Hogwartsian.
I mean,
but
they
you
did-
can actually go tour this place. That's
a lot
cool.
of it was like CGI, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, they filmed shots on the.
Yeah, I mean
probably
there
them
is a
walking
lot of
around and
CGI, but
stuff.
they pride themselves on doing a lot of the stuff in Harry Potter practically,
They
like
did?
using like actual environments. There's not a whole lot of shots I think in that series where they're on green screens
Oh, okay, gotcha.
until you get to the more fantastical
Yeah,
stuff. But yeah, I mean, Pat, I got good news. If we want to book a tour for tomorrow,
for Alnwick.
it would just be a mere 21 quid.
I don't even know. I have no idea how much that is.
I always get tripped. I don't know what the conversion rate is between a euro.
What's a
and-
quid versus a pound?
I don't know. I just said quid because I love it when British people say quid.
Quid.
It's like, oh, I've just got 100 quid in it. And they hand that to the
That was
cashier.
good.
check.
That was cool. Well, for tomorrow, you said I'm down to book the. Let's book
Yeah.
it.
We just need to book flights. So
Let's
$3,000 later, we'll be able to tour Fenwick Castle or whatever. Alnwick.
But yeah, as far as the filming of Harry Potter, these historical landmarks like Alnwick and Gloucester require special permissions. Often come with the condition that the production won't alter the original structures. So yeah, which also makes sense. I mean, a building that's over 700 years old. I mean, you don't want like a movie studio coming and making all sorts of demo.
We need to blow out all these walls. And they're like, whoa, no. Oh, mercy. Lord, God save the Queen. Do you think they're gonna film at the same? Do you think they're gonna use either of these castles for the new HBO series, the Harry Potter HBO series, or do you think they're gonna?
That's probably gonna be green screen.
You think?
I
I think
bet.
they are filming in the
Are
UK.
they?
I think so.
I mean, they can still film with green screens in the UK.
I know, but if they're closer to these sorts of landmarks,
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
it would behoove them to go and shoot there.
I don't know. I'm actually not sure about that. We can ask Charlene, I'm sure, who did the whole article. She'll
We'll
might be
see.
able to
Yeah,
tell
I don't know. What else you got for me?
us. Yeah. So as far as sell like how much Hogwarts would cost, castles in the UK often don't go up for sale. Believe it or not.
He's scrolling on Zillow. It's like, we found this home that you might be interested in. It's an $800 billion castle.
But according to this stat, I don't know where this was found, but if Hogwarts were real, the castle.
Our professionals,
Yeah.
our real estate professionals found this stat.
If Hogwarts were real, the castle alone could be valued at $200 to $300 million US, not including magical enhancements.
You know, I've never really thought about it. Who owns Hogwarts? Like, there's always a
Dumbledore.
headmaster. No,
Right,
but
no?
he's the headmaster, not the owner. Like he's not the property owner. who's the leasing agency for Hogwarts? Like,
Some landlord in Southern California just want to invest in this magical castle in Gloucester.
Dumbledore, like it's like his office toilet has a leak and he's got to call this guy and it's like Bob from Sacramento. It's like, I seem to have a leak in the enchanted castle. And it's like, all right, just go ahead and submit a maintenance ticket and we'll get to you as soon as we can.
Oh man, that's funny. All right. So as far as some of the features of Hogwarts is apparently 7 floors with hundreds of rooms. Hogwarts, as we know, has 4 distinct house dormitories and common rooms.
Yeah, I mean, we can't. So Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuff. You're what? I didn't even ask.
What do you think I am?
You're Gryffindor.
I was Hufflepuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess that also doesn't surprise me too much.
Hufflepuff. Puff
Boom.
out. Puff it
You're
out.
Too far away.
What were you, producer Muse? You don't know?
I didn't take it. I just didn't like Malfoy, so anything that doesn't have Malfoy in
So
it.
you don't want to be Slytherin.
Yeah.
Okay. So I feel like the Sorting Hat right now. You're like, not Slytherin, not Slytherin. I'm like, oh, not Slytherin, eh? Whatever this thing said. We'll sort you once we get back. Or sort yourself now.
Yeah. Take.
Oh, I'm sorted.
Go sort
Are you
yourself.
sorting? You already sorted?
You sort yourself, let me say. Seriously. Yeah, do it. By the time we're done with this segment, you'll have sorted yourself.
All right, let's get to the other features here. Great hall that seats hundreds with enchanted ceilings, a vast underground dungeon system.
Yeah. Love the Great Hall, by the way. I think that's such a cool design. I love the fact that like the ceiling can change depending on the weather, depending on the event. It's just such a beautiful, like, it's such a beautiful image to see. And the moving staircases too.
Yeah, the moving staircases.
Great concept. I love the idea that it's like the castle's always changing, and it's like I would be, dude. I'm an anxious person. Imagine being anxious in college and not being able to get to your class on time, and then you're like, freaking stair, and it's like it changed direction, and you got to wait for it to swing on back to the other side or whatever. It's like, God damn.
Well, actually, Hogwarts apparently has 142 staircases, although that number may fluctuate due to magic. But yeah, it's a lot of staircases.
Okay.
And yeah, as far as the Great Hall, it was inspired by the Christ Church College at Oxford, one of the most architecturally famous dining halls in the UK. Yeah, so,
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Interesting. So Oxford,
like the university.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, that's cool. You missed the Quidditch pitch.
Yes, I did miss the Quidditch pitch. I'm running around here. Yeah, the Quidditch. I still don't really fully understand the rules of Quidditch, but
It's flying soccer.
is that all it is? But is that all it is?
It's flying soccer with a bit of baseball.
Okay.
So basically, you've got the two teams of people. I'm not going to go through all the positions, but you're basically trying to get the balls, hit the balls, or throw the balls into the different nets to get different values of points.
Okay.
But you can also defend by hitting the balls in the other direction. And people are doing the whole thing in air on broomsticks. And you can actually play Quidditch in real life. There are leagues all across the United States where they do like field hockey, basically, is what it is. Hockey is probably a better example. It's hockey on broomsticks.
But then Harry Potter was like a special position where he was chasing this little thing.
He was the Seeker.
What is that? What does that mean?
So the Seeker is the Quidditch like weird like. There's one person on each team that their sole purpose, their only job is to fly around looking for this tiny little metal ball with wings called the Golden Snitch. Mm-hmm. And if they catch the snitch, the game is over because they get the maximum amount of points. They get 100 points and it ends.
That's like a really valuable.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why Harry Potter was the best seeker since his own father, wasn't it?
Oh, is that a quote?
Yeah, let's talk about that. Yeah.
Okay.
They talk about that in the first movie that Harry's dad was a seeker, and that's why.
Gotcha.
It's fate that he ends up getting recruited to be the same position as his dad on the team. There's a shot in the first movie where he looks at a trophy case of like his dad behind the trophy case.
Okay, I'm not remember. I gotta rewatch these. It's been a bunch of years. Cool. So if built today, a structure of Hogwarts size and complexity could exceed 500,000 square feet, making it larger than the Buckingham Palace, believe it or not.
Buckingham Palace. That's crazy.
Yeah. Pretty big.
Yep.
So as far as like building Hogwarts, if a non-magical developer tried to recreate Hogwarts with modern materials, historical detailing, and special effects, it could cost upwards of $1 billion.
Someone should do it. I dare you.
Some billionaire.
For all billionaires listening to this podcast, go recreate Hogwarts.
Yeah, I mean, I bet you they can make a ton of money off of people going to visit.
You can Airbnb. How much? Yeah. All right, so if the property costs $1 billion to make, and I wanted to rent out the castle of Hogwarts for a weekend,
do that math, we say.
$15K for a weekend, maybe 20.
It costs $1 billion, and you want to rent it out for.
Well, it costs $1 billion to make. I don't know if we can mathematically get to the monthly, to how much it would cost to.
Well, how much would
out.
like $1 million home cost to rent out for a weekend? You know, and then we could just multiply that by 1,000.
I don't know.
I'm doing ChatGPT, so tell me what I need to put in.
All right, $1 billion is the cost.
Okay.
How much can you rent that home out for a weekend?
Wait. Okay.
If a property cost $1 billion,
okay,
like as the property cost, what would it cost to rent it for a weekend?
It's gonna ask me square feet.
What? That has nothing to do with square feet. It's 500,000 though.
All right, I'm not gonna put the square feet. And so it's thinking right.
We're doing
now.
live AI.
It says around 10 million a year, so it could be 27,000 for 7 days.
Oh, jeez.
For 2 days, it could be 60,000.
60 or 16?
Oh wait. Estimated weekend cost is $55,000.
$55,000 for a weekend.
That's actually insane. That is a salary.
Worth it. Stay at Hogwarts for the whole weekend. Why not?
Okay.
What else you got for me?
Yeah. So,
I also found out what I am.
Oh,
What are
you
just took it.
you tested?
let me guess.
Musse's pure of heart. I bet he's
Hufflepuff?
Gryffindor. I bet he's Gryffindor.
Gryffindor. Okay. Go.
It'd be funny if you got
Wait.
Slytherin.
No, it's the one I didn't want to get. It's like, no, it's Gryffindor. Woo!
Oh, yes.
It says I have mascot lion, colors red and gold, ghost, nearly headless Nick. I don't know what that means.
What about the upkeep on this bad
Yeah,
boy?
so-
I wanted you to read that.
We're okay. We'll go ahead and take a step back. So $1 billion for the cost. Now, as far as how that breaks down, stonework, stained glass, Gothic detailing alone racks up tens of millions of dollars. The infrastructure for secret passageways, elevators in place of magic, and massive dining halls require complex engineering. But the upkeep cost for heating, maintenance, and staffing a building of that size easily in the millions annually. So, like, on top of the $1 billion, millions annually. Now, as far as owning Hogwarts,
Unless you're able to hire house elves,
that's a really
course.
good point.
or not technically hire them, but we don't talk about that anymore. Dobby's a free elf, all right? We're all good now. We're all good.
So yeah, even if you had a billionaire want to do that, comes with complications. So listed historical buildings in the UK come with strict preservation laws.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Scottish Highlands would impose planning restrictions to maintain the local landscape. So obviously this giant structure might not fly. And of course, you need the Ministry of Magic's approval, assuming you're a wizard. So that's another complication.
Okay.
Related real estate fun facts. The average castle in the UK sells for $5 to $10 million. Obviously, Hogwarts is in a different league. And some developers, since the book and movies, have tried creating the Hogwarts style of homes, including fantasy castles in the U.S.
Oh my God.
priced at $10 million.
Can you imagine
Yeah.
being such a Harry Potter fan that you commission a castle be built, like a small scale castle to be built in the United States? That's hilarious.
Well, speaking of which, some private schools are modeled after Hogwarts.
Now that is cool. I
yeah.
would love to go to. So you read the books or you watched the movies during COVID. So
Right.
you were an adult by the time you first.
I was 20. Yeah.
So I don't think you realized when I was a kid reading these books, there was still a time in my life where I was still an imaginative kid that didn't realize that the world was just going to tear me down and keep beating me down. And I was like, one day I'm going to get my owl from Hogwarts. And I was like, one of these days it's going to happen. I'm going to get the owl. It's going to come in. I'm going to get my letter and I'm going to go to Hogwarts. I legitimately thought, and that was like while these books were coming out. And then I realized, I was like, oh, magic.
Did you like read each one as it came out?
Yeah, well, I think the first 3 had been out because I remember reading those back to back to back to back, and then the rest of them I remember going, like my mom picking up a copy and bringing it home for me, like from the bookstore when they came out.
Well, hold on.
So yeah, huge. I mean, like Patrick and I have a bit of an age gap between the two of us. I'm a millennial through and through. We're gonna talk about it, but like Harry Potter is probably the biggest millennial franchise that there is for like my generation. New IP, like for my generation, Harry Potter is like probably the biggest thing. Like similar to what like Star Wars was like for adults in the 80s.
I'm a Gen Zer. I'd say the exact same for my generation.
So you think it spilled over to Gen Zers as
totally.
well?
I was in the minority of people in terms of like not reading Harry Potter in like elementary and middle school.
It's cool because like it's like I remember existing in a time when that stuff was still happening, like the end hadn't come out yet. So it's like, it's cool to hear that like it passed on to the next generation.
So I had just finished kindergarten when the last book came out. It was July 2007.
Disgusting. I want you to know that I my headache just got 10 times
Oh wait,
worse.
maybe it was first grade. Hold on. What year are you in kindergarten?
You were not in kindergarten when the last book came out.
When are you 7 years old? What grade are you?
I can't do that calculation for
That's
you
not
right now.
second grade. You were in second when you were 7?
So I had second grade when the last book came out?
Okay, so I had just finished first grade. Never mind. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Anyway, it's an impactful franchise for a lot of people. I think we can all agree on that. What you got? Anything else for me? What we got? We got time.
We got time.
We got nothing but time.
Okay, I got a few things. I'm just going to read these word for word because I know Charlene had a fun time writing them. Most rooms at Harry Potter appear to lack basic plumbing or heating, although magic presumably solves these problems. And security would be another issue. Between trolls, Death Eaters, and moving staircases, you'd need serious insurance.
Well, I would imagine that you would. You would need to insure the property, as we've covered. There are specific like preservation laws, so yeah, that makes sense.
After the success of the films, the Alnwick Castle that we previously talked about saw a 300% increase in tourism.
Huh.
So good for the Duke Whelming.
Yeah, good for the 700-year-old family.
Yeah,
they're fine. Before America.
Yeah.
Who'd have think? Yeah, I mean, the tourism must be absolutely insane there. They literally had to build the Wizarding World in Orlando to make it so that people could stay within the continental United States and enjoy the environments and the magicalness of the world and stuff. And I don't know, it's cool. We have it on here, the Wizarding World in Orlando.
Yeah.
If you go, you can actually like get a wand and go through the whole like Ollivander thing.
It's awesome. I went even
cool.
before I was a Harry Potter fan. I loved the whole world there.
Yeah. Very cool.
All right, and last thing, Hogwarts was named the #1 fictional property people would want to visit in multiple polls worldwide.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
#1 fictional property. Maybe one of these days we'll start like listing all the fictional properties we talk about in terms of like which ones we would want to live in from most to least.
Yeah.
And like have a running list for all the episodes.
I mean, like it's gonna be like this versus the Seinfeld apartment. I mean, is it really?
Imagine. I'd rather live in the Seinfeld apartment than Hogwarts Castle. I want to exist in 1994.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, that's pretty much it. Thanks for listening.
Well, I've got Harry Potter questions, so we can't end without talking about the movies for just a little bit,
okay.
A couple minutes. I want to know, and feel free to chime in, Professor Musset. I want to know favorite movie, favorite book, least favorite movie, least favorite book. You got that? Favorite movie, favorite book, least favorite movie, least favorite book.
Considering
I feel like everyone's got one of each.
Considering I haven't read the books, I'll say like the movies kind of all blended together for me. It's because I watched them back to back. Like, I literally watched them within 48 hours.
Right.
My least favorite movie was The Goblet of Fire. Like
What?
Yeah. Besides the last like 30 minutes, which was great, most of it just kind of, it seemed like the one movie that was just kind of like filler, like the whole like games thing.
What?
Just kind of like as somebody who hadn't read the books, it just kind of seemed, it was just like, they're just doing this, but it was a complete sidetrack from the first 3 movies and then like what was then to come. So it was my least favorite movie.
That's crazy. What a take.
I loved the first 3 movies, and then I loved the first 3 I really loved. The last one I loved. Yeah, I really liked them all. Snape was my favorite character. I know that's not a hot take at all.
Mr. Potter.
I thought he was just a great character.
Turn to page 194.
That's a good.
Thank you.
That's really cool. All right, what about you guys?
Go ahead. Do you have one? Do you have it at the top of your head?
The favorite book, because I think I only read the first one, was Sorcerer's Stone. I think the favorite movie was Prisoner of Azkaban, because that's the one with the bird, right?
Oh, that's a good one.
The one with the bird is like
Fox the Phoenix?
Yeah.
Well, the Phoenix shows up in multiple things. What bird are you? Or are you talking about the hippogriff?
The hippogriff.
Then yes, you're talking about Azkaban.
Yeah. So I think that one, and then honestly, I didn't watch the other ones. I have to catch up and watch these other ones.
Okay. They're good.
Yeah.
Buckbeak's the homie. Shout out Buckbeak. Love you, buddy. Almost named I was thinking that was a name that got tossed around when we were naming my dog. I was like, what about Buckbeak? That'd be funny. I was like, that'd be a nightmare to say. Favorite movie, Azkaban, undoubtable. I think it's the best in that series. Least favorite movie is Half-Blood Prince. Just because of all the Voldemort stuff that they cut out of it. I think that Half-Blood Prince is a really well done movie, but they butchered it compared to like what the book is. Favorite book, Half-Blood Prince. Least favorite book was probably like Chamber of Secrets or something. Like Chamber of Secrets is kind of just pretty straightforward and not really that crazy, but like everything else is awesome. But yeah, great series. Really, really fun. The movies are awesome. Very curious to see what they're going to do with this HBO reboot. This is going to be a big deal. Like, it's the first big property to come out since the 2000s that's getting a reboot already. Like,
I mean, Batman.
Well,
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
property that was original and was a big deal for kids growing up in the 2000s is now getting a remake. So it's like how people felt when like they remade Jurassic Park or whatever. It's like it's like this is the first thing that hasn't been touched that's been a big popular thing in our lives that's getting retouched. Yeah. So it's going to be very divisive.
We'll see.
People are going to be very reactionary to how this thing's going to go, and I'm very curious to see how it does. But I wish them the best. All right. Thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Rentish Pod. It's been a fun one. We got to talk nerdy wizard stuff, and we also got to talk about, let me check my notes, midterm rentals. We'll be back next time with more fun property management, real estate. Remember, follow The Rentish at The Rentish Pod on Insta. You can go to The Rentish Pod on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Listen, subscribe, give us a rating, give us a review. Email questions at therentishpod.com. I've been Zach. That's been Patrick. That's been Professor Mousset. And we'll see you guys next time. What if you had a network of mentors and peers to guide you through your toughest challenges? Cohorts is a private network of experienced investors who share lessons, insights, and support at every stage of growth. Whether you're managing 10 million or 1 billion in assets, Cohorts helps you build smarter and avoid costly mistakes. Learn more and join the community at joincohorts.com/podcast.